Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's featured Reddit stories are from Entitled People. Story 1 today is by Vizance. Entitled client learns that professionals can in fact walk away. I work as an engineer. I do some consulting on the side, but typically only for people I know and as a favor. A good friend asked me to help his in-laws who were doing some fairly massive renovations or additions. I agreed solely because he asked me to. This is not something I have any interest or need in doing except as a favor. It's an old house and had a can of worms written all over it with some of the changes they wanted to do. Now, he warned me that the mother-in-law can be unpleasant, but that was an understatement. She seemed to think that because I was being paid, I charged probably a tenth of what a business would, that she could snap her fingers at me like a servant. I had a few unpleasant emails with her, but it was tolerable. She was rude when I was pointing out issues with their plans, but nothing too extreme. That changed when I started trying to find a time for me to stop by and inspect a few areas of the house to verify some information. I offered times to stop by on the weekend, but that didn't work for her. Tried evening times, still a no. Nope, she wanted me to stop by during my office work hours because that was best for her. When I told her no, this gets done on the weekends or in the evening, she went from rude to incredibly hostile, telling me that she is paying me, LOL, and that I work with her availability, not the other way around. CC'd my friend in on the chain, told them I was out and to have fun working with whoever they get. Friend apologized. I said no worries, not my problem anymore. She emailed back, quite stunned that I was walking away, telling me it's not how business is conducted. I didn't bother responding. About 3 weeks later, I get an email from the husband now asking me if I would reconsider, as he promises that his wife won't speak to me or be involved in any way. I hear back from my friend that while the quotes came back much higher, which was tolerable for them, it was how long the wait was that was the problem. They just bought this house and wanted to move in ASAP. But it's an incredibly busy time of year for the industry. Turns out when companies you reach out to are drowning in work and you have a potentially convoluted and messy project, they aren't chomping at the bit to get your business. So now they are going to lose the trades they lined up because design would be a month or two out. I passed on the request as I struggled to believe she would be kept in check, and I had no desire to bail her out. My friend didn't care, said it was nice watching her attitude give her consequences that actually affect her. You know, she's got a point. That's not how business is done. But you also, as a business owner, don't have to put up with somebody who is like that at all. That's the joy of running your own business. Not that I've actually done it myself, but if you're a business owner, you don't have to put up with rudeness or snapping of fingers from anybody. Since your friend is involved in this, it's great because he can pretty much say to the mother-in-law, "You're the problem, and I warned them that you would be a problem." So you got to keep that in check in the future. Maybe your friend can say to her, "This is not how business is conducted either. You can actually be polite to people that work under you." Our next story is by Inspiring Delusions. Was left holding the bill by a millionaire. I'd grown up with very little spending money, so this was strange to me. My girlfriend at the time was best friends with this girl who was the daughter of the largest newspaper company in my area. So rich is an understatement. Beachfront, like dead heart of Cocoa Beach, mansion is where we met her to go out for this girl's birthday lunch. I wanted my girlfriend to have a good date still, so I was very clear I was only paying for my girlfriend and myself before we made plans even. Well, we get our bills all separate like we talked about and everything was going great, laughing and talking about plans after, going back to this girl's house for a pool party, etc. This is when she says they left their wallets in the car and would be right back. Well, 30 minutes later, they are not. Just me and my girl sitting, waiting. I paid my tab, a pizza and 2 drinks, like $35 with a tip I left $50. I only had $100 to start. Figure that's plenty for a lunch date. Well, the other 2 ordered 2 appetizers, didn't share, each at $15. 2 steak entrees, $50, and drinks, so their tab alone was close to $100 after taxes. So we sat another few minutes trying to call as the waiter had asked us to get up and sit at the bar. Wouldn't let us leave until the bill was paid. I only have $50 cash. No credit cards, debit cards, was a cash-only person for a long time. My girlfriend didn't bring any cash either. I talk with the waiter and he lets my girlfriend walk back to the car to see what's taking them. Well, they left us. They drove us. She comes back and is like, yeah, they left and are not answering their phones. I had to call a buddy of mine to cover the bill and give us a ride back to my truck from their mansion. Lucky I had a good friend. Wes, thanks for that. He was pissed. After dropping me off, he did donuts in their gravel parking area, throwing rocks onto multiple different high-end vehicles before speeding off, getting left holding the bill for a stuck-up, entitled millionaire. This person just sounds like a bad person. Whether you're rich or poor, you can still be somebody who's lacking morals or unethical. And she honestly sounds like somebody who might just enjoy doing this sort of thing to companies. Maybe she thought she was doing some sort of prank to her friends. She thought this was funny. Regardless, I really hope that your girlfriend and you never communicate with this person again. Our last story today is by Best Crisper. Oh, my rich friends, we can't be friends anymore. So tonight, an acquaintance I haven't spoken to in at least 5 years calls me. Marcus, I'll call him. Marcus did make a little chit-chat, then they asked me what I'm doing for work. I say I'm between full-time stuff right now, but looking. They agree that the job market is hard and how they're divesting themselves of a business that they've had for decades as, quote, the suckers aren't buying anything anymore, quote. I give a little laugh because that's a weird way to refer to clients, but maybe Marcus is a little down. They then mention about their home in New England and their home in the West Coast in a, quote, highly desirable area on the beach, quote, that they want to split the entire summer between the two locations because it's so hot in the South in the summer. I say something along the lines of, that's a heck of a problem to have, and we laugh again. That's when they drop their entitled request on me. They want someone to care for their extremely obese, nearly bedbound elderly auntie that lives with them. 7 days a week, no days off for 3 months. The best part, this home is not air conditioned. They want to offer a fellow human $200 per week since it's light duty, but they said I'd have my own room. I own a home, so that isn't of interest to me. I explained that I was going to have to pass on this amazing offer, and Marcus got really insulted. He whined and said they didn't know anyone as nice as me, and since I was a flight attendant before this, I know the first aid in serving food stuff. Again, I declined, and he was confused. I said, would you work for $200 a week? Because I won't. He said he would call in a week to see if I changed my mind. Blocked him as soon as the call ended. Yep, that right there is peak entitlement. We have 2 properties, one in a beautiful area here, one in a beautiful area there. We want to go to the other property and our aunt is going to be staying in the primary property and we want to pay you $200 a week because you won't have to do too much. It's like, geez, should I take the $200 a week if you have absolutely nothing else going for you and no prospects whatsoever? That would not be a terrible thing to take. But these people have 2 places they can obviously afford to pay you more. And to expect you to work 7 days a week, no breaks whatsoever for 3 months at $200 a week is insane. So you either take $200 a week from them or you could potentially find a job that pays $100 or $200 a day instead. It's absolutely the right thing for OP to say this to them. No, I'm not interested. Would you work for $200 a week? I wouldn't. I hope that puts it in perspective for your friend Marcus. People were down in the comments saying that people who are home health aides and people who just go over and check on a relative get paid $30 an hour to do that. So it's pretty good that you stuck to your guns. However, it does make me wonder if you didn't block him, he might have contacted you at a later date with better pay. But somehow I doubt it. Our stories for today have come to a close. Until we meet again, if you enjoy this content and you want to support the channel, you can click like or subscribe. Neither of these things cost you anything, and it helps my channel reach more people in the YouTube algorithm. Until we meet again, have an excellent day.